Good evening. You're watching Look Up TV. My name is Louis. It's time for the news. On Look Up News tonight.
Kwa saizi sisi hapa upande ya Siricho tuko na shida kubwa sana. Mifugo zimeisha zote.
Hundreds of cattle evacuated from Isiolo to Tana River following severe drought. The campaign period comes to a close today as IEBC says they're ready for the by-elections slated for Thursday.
There have been challenges on transport, lakini sasa ukiona venye magari zimekuwa chache na watu ni wengi, definitely fare lazima itaenda juu.
And it's a maddening rush back to the city for Kenyans who had traveled as it now comes to the time to go back to school and to work after festivities. More than 300 herds of livestock have been evacuated from Isiolo County to the neighboring Tana River County to rescue them from the ravaging drought in the region. Residents are now counting losses after thousands of their livestock died due to the drought.
Siricho ward in Isiolo County has now become home to carcasses of livestock following months of acute drought occasioned by missed rain seasons.
Tumekabiliwa na ukame ambaye ukame ya mwaka nyingi, mwaka sita iliyopita tujapata mvua.
Residents here counting losses as more than 10,000 of their livestock having perished in the past few months.
Already over 5,000 cattle ama livestock wamekufa na tunaogopa kwamba zaidi inaweza kufa.
To address the situation, the county government in partnership with the Northern Rangelands Trust has evacuated the surviving cattle to greener pastures in Tana River County and other parts of Isiolo. According to Siricho Conservancy Chairperson Hasi Halake, so far more than 300 herds have been evacuated.
This is the 6th day ambapo tunafanya hii. Around every trip tulikuwa tunapeleka 52 heads of cattle, so that is roughly around 300 something. Wamepelekwa sehemu za malisho mazuri mpaka Tana River sana ambapo ni around 300 kilometers kutoka hapa.
Residents narrating the challenges they are facing as they urge the government to intervene. Many residents who depend on pastoralism as their livelihood raising concern over how they will provide for their families. The residents now saying they have nothing to celebrate about the new year like other Kenyans.
Tunaomba pia serikali watusaidie kwa upande ya malnutrition, imemimia watoto wengi. Sasa hakuna chakula, tunapata pia hakuna maji, kiangazi imekuwa long. Sasa vile tunaelekea msimu ya kufungua shule, zamani tulikuwa tunategea hawa wanyama kwa kukipi school fees. Sasa hiyo wanyama wote wameisha, tunaomba serikali watuangalilie.
This as Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Midhika Rinturi has appealed to pastoralists to embrace alternative farming methods.
To deal with the drought situation, we already launched, I personally launched the offtake program for our livestock. And I'm happy also to note and report that there are several areas right now are reporting good feedback, because at least there has been some good rain in some parts of the country, and the livestock is not really dying, or there is something to eat.
Edwin John Mokora, Look Up TV.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission says preparations for Thursday's by-elections in Elgeyo Marakwet County, Kandara and Garissa Township constituencies and Shella Ward are complete ahead of the polling exercise. Candidates eyeing seats in these by-elections made a last-minute push to convince the electorate to vote for them, as today marked the last day of campaigns in accordance with the electoral laws. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is, of course, rerouting for all candidates vying on the UDA ticket. Henry Tende has the details.
Fierce political contest is expected among aspirants eyeing several seats in Kandara, Elgeyo Marakwet, Garissa Township and Shela Ward by-elections. Voters will go to the polls on Thursday in these areas to vote in their leaders, with the electoral agency IEBC confirming all preparations including security arrangements are complete. In Elgeyo Marakwet senatorial race, 6 candidates will be battling it out to replace Kipchumba Murkomen. Ruling party UDA's candidate William Kisang will face stiff competition from Timothy Tanui, flying the New Democrats flag. Jerotich Sei of Safina Party, Tim Kipchumba of Peace and Development Party, and independent candidates Andrew Mengich and Kelvin Kemboi. The Garissa Township parliamentary seat that has attracted 6 candidates will see Faisal Amin of ODM, Mohamed Deko of UDA, Nasir Dolal of UDM, Abdikarim Osman of Democratic Party, Ali Mohamed of Sao Kowote Party, and Ibrahim Malo of Nakenya battle it out. In Kandara constituency, a fierce face-off is expected among 8 candidates. Kibiru PMG Jr. of Sao Kowote, Samuel Kioi of New Democrats, Titus Njau representing for Dasili, Joseph Mbugo of JFP Party, Chege Njuguna of UDA, and independent candidates Pius Muiruri, David Kamweti, and Erastus Gatehi will square it out. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has wished UDA candidates the best of luck as he expresses confidence they will emerge victorious. On the 5th of January, it will be the turn of electorates to exercise their democratic right and vote in their preferred candidates. Henry Tende, Look Up TV.
In typical scenes of this time of the year, travelers are making frantic efforts to get means of transport back to Nairobi and other destinations after spending Christmas holidays at their place of choice. And of course, transport operators were making the most of this effort, getting as much as they can from you who are traveling. Cecilia Lubanga was in Nakuru to look at these unfolding stories.
It is a rush back to the city once more after a festive season that saw Kenyans travel to their various rural homes to visit their loved ones. At bus parks in Nakuru, families could be seen looking for means of transport back to Nairobi, even as the cost of the traveling remained high. Others stranded due to lack of sufficient vehicles and the skyrocketed prices.
Nilikuja hapa kama 2 hours ago, came here 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, yes. And even I think I'm lucky to get here. Kupata gari saa hii. Although nasikia magari ni mingi ziko njiani zinakuja.
A number of matatus intending to make a kill on the high season to net passengers traveling back to the city. Most of the major vehicle companies playing the Western Kenya route through Nakuru were already fully booked, including their scheduled night trips.
There have been challenges on transport, lakini sasa ukiona venye magari zimekuwa chache na watu ni wengi, definitely fare lazima itaenda juu.
Nimekuwa hapa tangu sana, ni mama sala ikuwa na hao na naona usafiri bado iko sawa kwa upande yetu. For those traveling from Nakuru to Kisumu, tumesubiri for like 1 hour ndio gari imekuja. But for those who are traveling from Nakuru to Nairobi, I can see it wako na challenge kubwa kiasi.
Travelers to Nairobi had to wait between 2 and 3 hours to board matatus. The few passengers who were in the city said they had anticipated that many passengers would be traveling back today. Cecilia Lubanga, Look Up TV.
The Institution of Engineers of Kenya wants the public and stakeholders to engage licensed professional engineers in the design, approval, and implementation and supervision of all construction projects. This follows a number of disasters following collapsed buildings seen across the country last year alone, claiming lives across the country. They're now calling to the end also of importation of low cadre engineering labor to stop the influx of foreigners who come to undertake manual jobs.
There is need for the public and the real estate owners to engage licensed professional engineers in the design, the approval, the implementation, the supervision of all construction duties. You look at these requests that are coming to the county government in the tune of 705. This means these are 705 new buildings that are being requested. And therefore, we are asking the government to ensure that we have 700 engineers who will be able to design, make approvals, and supervise this particular infrastructure project in the country. And by so doing, we'll be ensuring that these ideas of collapsing buildings will be a thing of the past. As we speak currently, there is a serious deficit of engineers in the 47 counties, under 100 engineers. We require 1,700 additional engineers, and we are asking the county governments, of course we will be reaching out to the Council of Governors, which is headed by the Honorable Anne Waiguru, to be able to look at this and make provision for budget allocation so that this serious deficit within the county government is actually bridged. There is an approval procedure that happens. As I've said, that every single day the county government receives to the tune of 700 requests from the Kenyan people. These are requests that are being supposed to be approved by the engineers. But the problem has been, after the approval of these particular requests, the developer has his approved document, as you're saying, and then he now does not involve an engineer. He goes and looks for quacks. Mr. Somebody can be able to do this particular work at some...
A short break now. We'll be back with more news shortly.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
From our very own newsroom to your screen.
From all the 47 counties in detail.
Factual and timely.
We bring you comprehensive stories.
From politics,
human interest, business to sports.
Join us every day of the week at exactly 9 p.m.
Only
on Lookup TV.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Residents in Narrow County have disowned a land adjudication exercise conducted in the area by the Land Registry and the Select Committee. Protesting at El Sowit, the residents have now petitioned President William Ruto to withhold issuance of the title deeds until the dispute is resolved. Residents have complained that the land exercise was done in contravention of the existing laws, including ignoring a court order on the same.
mmoja wa member wa Kimintet adjudication section ambayo inasemekana ni E and F, ambapo tayari kulingana na sheria E and F imeoverlap D, of which Kenya tunasema kama community ya Kimintet ni kwamba wenye walichaguliwa kuendesha adjudication section ya Kimintet ambayo imekatwa hivi majuzi ni kwamba walifanya makosa kwa sababu community nzima hawajahusishwa chochote. Kulingana na ile utaratibu ambao kamati inachaguliwa, kamati ilienda kuchaguliwa Nairobi, mahali inaitwa Milimani ambapo sisi hatuifahamu. Hiyo kamati tulikataa from the word go, of which wakati huo tukaenda kotini. Vile tulienda kotini, hii watu walitembea juu ya sheria, ni kama hakuna sheria Kenya.
Office serikali wa Kenya hawa wajui sheria, kwa sababu tulifanya hayo yote ambaye inafuata sheria, lakini tumekanyagwa. Tunaomba CS Walan akuje atuangalie Kimintet, akuje kwa haraka, kwa sababu tunaona watu wataenda kuuana hapa, na tumesema hatutaki hiyo kazi.
Toka hapa unaona hawa watu hakuna menye ambaye wamekatiwa ama wamehesabiwa kwa hati ya Kimintet. Hatujahesabiwa. Na ni members watu ambaye alizaliwa hapa, mababu sao, mababa sao, na wamekataa, alikata hati kwa kulingana na mrengo ya kisiasa. Hawa watu alikata section 2 D and F.
What does it really take to serve in the armed forces? In our special feature tonight, we paint a picture for you through the eyes of Byron Adera, who was a platoon commander in the 2006 Elite Kenya Parachute Regiment, and he tells of his memorable experiences in the field and a story not often told, the impact it has had on his mental health.
We see them during various national celebrations, mounting parades looking elegant and sharp. Sometimes we laugh when some of the demonstrations fail. But hardly does the public comprehend what it takes to become a soldier. When one signs an open check for a country to use one whenever and wherever, and when one has to live with death as a constant neighbor, it's a whole different and abnormal experience altogether. My curiosity about what it takes to serve this country as a soldier leads me to the doorsteps of a 39-year-old Byron Adera, whose recollection of 8 years of experience in the Special Defense Forces was horrendous and almost damaging to his mental health. He survived, but he has a story to tell.
Wameua msee hapo, wanashika tu wasee wanatupa kwa gari. Wanaenda moja tu, hiyo imekuwa tu kazi yao, ni kubeba tu na kupeleka moja.
Born, bred and raised in Nyando Sub-County, Kisumu County. Good standing citizen and a son of the soil. His fantasies and dreams as a child will see him grow to emerge the first among many equals to be selected into the Special Forces in the heydays, the Kenya Parachute Regiment in 2006 as a platoon commander. Although he participated in many successful security operations, the experience was, however, tough and scarring.
Of course, as a commander, then you have men under you for both command, leadership, and of course, you're taking care of all their welfare. And you are into 1 minute, you are in the camp, and everything's all normal. The next, you are picking boulders and stones for you to actually get from Gilgil to Eldoret. It took us, more than 24 hours. There was not so much in terms of welfare going for us. So I remember pretty much, putting my head down under a truck, an army truck, in sleeping bags, and my fellow officer then was actually coming down with fever and malaria, and it was really crazy. But the most troubling of which, of course, for myself and the soldiers is when you had to pick, bodies that were burnt beyond recognition, from trucks, or when actually dogs were eating, feeding on human flesh. That became a very emotional period for us, especially then that the army was we were not mandated to a huge extent to actually use extra force.
Kenya has reeled in both local and national political chaos over time, with soldiers being placed at the heart of it all. The scramble for land and the dispute in the Mount Elgon region over resettlement led to the rise of Sabot land defense forces. Government had to put its best men in place to end the terror that had loomed the region. Byron was at the center of it all.
To reckon with, to some extent, they had killed policemen, they had killed the most specialized parts of the police service, then burnt down police stations, killed loads and loads of civilians. By that time, the carnage was put to several hundreds of people that had lost their lives, and several thousands or hundreds of thousands of people had been displaced from Mount Elgon. I lost a very dear soldier to me in that jungle, the only casualty that did happen, a shot in that jungle, but he paid the ultimate price for the liberation of the populace there. No woman gets raped anymore, no man at least gets attacked, or no taxation, illegal taxation as it was.
These sons have saved the country from the shackles and menace of terror attacks and drug assassins. Although he is now an ex-Kenya Special Forces officer, his experience became the cornerstone of his foundation and defining moments in his life.
We extend the gospel of awareness, both fitness, mental and physical, and to ventilate over, critical societal issues like, of course, mental health, as I just said, and other things that are affecting us as a society today through expeditions, be it hikes like what we are doing, and of course, by extension, we actually also preaching the environmental angle, of course, the protection of the environment, live in clean environments, and always shun bad practices that also threaten the nature and the livelihoods of humans, practically, but of course through the protection of the environment and conservation of the same.
It's every soldier's pride to protect a nation or complete his or her mission successfully. However, they hardly come back home the same. For Byron, he lost a family he held dearly due to the impact the war had on his mental health.
If you are in the very most specialized of these units like the Special Forces and you're the guys in the country dials 911, for the most, gravest of dangers or the most complex of its threats, then it's calling you, then you can imagine what that does to you. When you then get into business and in the unfortunate, appearance of, say, someone losing their life, or someone getting killed, or someone getting dismembered, someone getting blown off in right in your face, or someone yourself getting shot, it gets to affect you. It doesn't leave you unchained. I mean, huge loss, and you were in a complete darkness. My life was on autopilot. I can't remember quite a few things. People remind me of what was happening in my neighborhood, who I was, and I literally can't remember quite a portion of my life. Some of these things can really change your perspectives going forward, can really change who you are, and sad for a lot of guys who get changed for the worst. You heard of cases of people taking their own lives, people, I try to move away from the word committing suicide. So they take their own lives, which is, again, not very normal. So if you are to sit somewhere and you're trying to write a book about how the process of someone getting a point where they shoot someone, or shoot their wife, shoot all their children, or kill them in cold blood, or strangle them and then hang themselves, it will sound and feel very irrational. But if you are to look at that side by side with the ravages of mental illnesses, then things start to make sense.
A success it was, as Byron puts it, but the mission has had consequences on those who undertook them, the experience almost damaging to one's sanity. Over time, Byron has been able to contextualize and understand what he ought to do and how he should do it. However, a good number of individuals already in the defense forces and those joining remain exposed to the damaging effects of war. The Uhuru Kenyatta regime saw his government beef up the security sector, including the improvement of housing and medical services to the men in uniform. Will that go an extra mile to counter the suicide and poor mental health cases among the men in defense forces? The Selfless Service.
Byron's story closes our bulletin tonight. Thank you for your company and Look Up TV. Have a good night.